All right, so you ready to dive into this?
I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be looking at thinking in English
Right?
and
Yeah.
how to kind of get your brain to
Yeah.
switch over. And
Yeah.
we're looking at excerpts from Thinking in English, a guide,
Okay.
which is this
Yeah.
awesome
Huh.
guide that's just packed with tips.
I like it.
And I'm excited to break it down with you. And we have an expert in language learning here with us to unpack it all.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so to get started, I know the guide starts off by talking about this thing called the internal monologue.
Uh-huh.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that is? And
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, it's basically just like the voice in your head, right? Like that constant stream of thoughts, all the planning, the little jokes you make to yourself, everything that's going on up there, like the
Right.
way that we process the world.
Yeah.
Most people don't even really realize what language that voice is using.
So you're saying that people don't even realize what language they're thinking in?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of a fascinating thing.
So how does that relate to thinking in English?
Well, think about it. If you're always like mentally translating
Yeah.
from your native language to English, it just creates this extra step,
Yeah.
this mental barrier.
Right.
So the guide emphasizes becoming aware of what language your internal monologue is in, and then like consciously working to shift it to English.
So instead of me thinking, what should I have for dinner
Right.
in my native language, I should actually be thinking that in English.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it might seem small, but that's really like the foundation.
Right.
Starting with everyday thoughts, even simple ones, helps lay the groundwork for more
Oh,
complex thinking in English later on.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I know the guide then suggests this technique of like narrating your daily activities in English.
Yes.
Like I'm brushing my teeth or,
Yeah.
I'm making coffee.
Right.
I've tried this and I will say, like, at first I felt so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like I was narrating a documentary about my life.
Yeah.
But after a while, it did start to feel less weird.
I think it does feel odd initially, but there's a reason why this works.
Mm.
When you narrate your actions, you're forcing your brain to actively recall and use English vocabulary in real time.
Wow.
So it strengthens those neural connections between thought and the English language.
So it's like building a bridge between what you're doing
Yes,
and the English words for it.
precisely.
Okay.
And it doesn't even have to be perfect grammar or anything.
Really?
The guide stresses that it's more about just like the consistency of the practice,
Yeah.
embedding English into those daily routines.
So building on this idea of connecting thoughts and language, the guide also suggests labeling objects around you in English.
Oh yeah, this one can feel a little silly at first.
Yeah.
But think about it, it's how we learn our first language.
Right.
As children, we constantly hear the names of objects repeated, as we interact with them.
Right.
So this technique really taps into that same powerful learning process.
So it's like I'm looking at my phone and I think phone,
Yes.
and I'm looking at the window, I think window.
Exactly, and it helps build those like direct associations between the object and the English word. And then as you get comfortable, you can start adding descriptions. So
Oh.
instead of just phone, you might think, my black phone with the cracked screen.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we've got shifting our internal monologue, narrating our day, and labeling things around us.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listener who wants to start thinking in English?
I would say it's really about integrating English into your daily life in a way that feels natural and builds those automatic connections in your brain. And remember, consistency is key.
Okay.
These techniques might feel basic,
Right.
but they create the foundation for more complex thinking in English.
Yeah. I love that idea of building up from the basics.
Absolutely.
So to leave our listener with something to think about,
Yeah.
imagine you're giving a tour of your home in English.
Oh, that's a good one.
How would you describe your favorite room?
Ooh.
Think about the details, the colors, the objects.
Yeah.
Maybe even try saying it out loud.
I love that.
Until next time.
Yeah, see? Bye.